As many in the party hoped former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn would stand down sooner rather than later, Mr. Starmer was quietly receiving backing to be the next big thing. As highlighted by Tom Goodenough in his column for The Spectator, despite the praise Mr. Starmer had received from some corners, Labour's unpopular Brexit policy attracted scrutiny. In April 2017, newspaper editorials from both sides of the political spectrum predicted that the Brexit stance, which Starmer played a key role in forming, would result only in more electoral pain for Labour. The Sun said at the time that the party's policy was a joke and accused Mr. Starmer of waffle and wishful thinking. The paper warned that if Mr. Starmer was the party's best hope, Labour are in even graver long-term trouble than we thought. The Daily Mail echoed this argument, claiming, "Heaven help Labour, if Mr. Starmer became leader." The editorial added, "Labour is in favour of both leaving the EU and remaining in it. If this is the best Sir Keir can offer, mightn't Labour just as well stick with Mr. Corbyn?" The Times took a more sympathetic view, saying that even Tony Blair, normally so fluent even when fluently wrong, has tied himself in knots. Therefore, it said, Mr. Starmer's inability to answer all the questions on Brexit is not wholly his fault, but Labour should be doing better than this. The left-wing press also raised doubts over the now party leader, saying Labour's Brexit policy is probably best summed up by the Rolling Stones line, "You can't always get what you want." The paper maintained, however, that Mr. Starmer remained one of the party's brightest talents. Labour's stance in April 2017, just 2 months before the June election that year, stated they would end freedom of movement but not sever EU ties. Revealing his party's Brexit strategy, Mr. Starmer said then Prime Minister Theresa May's approach to leaving the EU was rigid and reckless, putting the economy at risk. He added, "We recognize that immigration rules will have to change as we exit the EU, but we do not believe that immigration should be the overarching priority. We do not believe that leaving the EU means severing our ties with Europe. We do not believe that Brexit means weakening workers' rights and environmental protections or slashing corporate tax rates." He said the shadow cabinet had agreed that reasonable management of migration and moving away from freedom of movement has to be part of the referendum result, even though the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, had previously strongly defended free movement of citizens within the EU. Labour's policy was criticised throughout the Brexit process. While Mr. Corbyn secured a decent result in the 2017 vote, stripping the Tories of their majority, the party's Brexit stance moved to backing a people's vote in 2019, leading to Labour's worst result since 1935.